Five Nights at Freddy's needs no introduction. I mean, come on. Something that goes hand to hand with the original games are its fanmates. And in this video, we'll be diving into 19 different FNAF fan games, starting from the most known and least scary to the least known and scary. Welcome to the secondary channel. Let's go. One Night at Flumpty's. One Night at Flumpty's 1 was the first fan game of the whole saga of One Night at Flumpty's, with this one being created in 2015. The story of this game is non-existent, and we had to survive until 6 AM against an egg that had kidnapped us. Here, we face Flumpty Bumpty, Birthday Boy Blam, Grunkfuzz the Clown, Beaver, the Rat Man, and the Golden Flumpty. The mechanics of this game are exactly the same as FNAF 1, except for the clown that moves if you're not looking at him in the office, and also the fact that there's only one night that lasts 9 freaking minutes. This matters because as the night goes on, so does the difficulty. Something that scared me about this game when I was 11 was the grotesque environment of the security office. Plushies ripped in half with their organs out, pills on the floor, and even a brain, which made the little me think that they would do exactly the same to us if they caught us. And what a way to start this iceberg. The creator of this FNAF fan game is and was in a relationship with a minor for 6 years. Five Nights at Candy's. Another classic. Five Nights at Candy's is the first of the 4 games, with each being important for the lore. But for this video, I'll be focusing more on the first game while quickly going over the others. Five Nights at Candy's 1. According to the lore, we play as Mary, a woman that was once traumatized by the company that she's now working for when she was little. Back in the day, at the Rat and Cat Theater, the beginning of it all, Mary, while playing hide and seek with the actors, she ended up hiding in an employees-only zone and accidentally witnessed the puppeteer kill 2 actors. That memory traumatized Mary so much, to the point of having recurrent nightmares and forgetting their main cause. After several therapy sessions, Mary finally remembers everything and gives her testimony to the police, finally closing that cold case and getting the puppeteer arrested. And later, in 1987, Mary ends up working at Candy's Burgers and Fries. This is where we are now. The gameplay mechanic is very basic, nothing that we're not used to already. If an animatronic appears at the door, close it, and manage your battery. It's not difficult, and if you're lucky you can easily survive until night 3 without using your cameras, since their eyes glow in the dark. After each night, we are revealed tapes that tells us about the main story. Before working at the restaurant in 1987, Mary had worked at the factory responsible for creating the main cast that we know, the robotics factory. There, Mary also worked as a security guard. However, in one of the nights, she ended up falling asleep, where coincidentally, a homicide took place which took the lives of 2 children, who were then stuffed inside Cindy and Candy and used in the new restaurant where we are now. The story goes on, but that's about it. FNAF Real Time. FNAF Real Time is like the best Five Nights at Freddy's we never had. In it, we play as Donovan Sheehan, a father that at some point had lost his daughter at Freddy Fazbear's. In search for answers, he decides to get a job at the said place, but he ends up finding more than he hoped. Various cover-ups, the fake death of William Afton, where the previous kids ended up going, and the various attempts by someone to stop Donovan from exposing the truth. Donovan is not alone. With him is one of the most useful phone guys I've ever seen in all FNAF fan games. Honestly. He knows what's going on and how to fight against them, and even calls a team of technicians to set up more cameras. At first, this game seems nothing special, but as we progress through the nights, oh boy, is it different and special. It has everything. Music, new newspapers, a boss fight.
The person you're trying to reach is no longer in service.
After surviving 5 nights, Donovan ends up gathering enough evidence in an attempt to report everything to the authorities, alongside one of the other heads of Freddy Fazbear's, who ends up following Donovan home and kills him, revealing him to be William Afton all along. And the last call? Dude, that shit was brutal. Along with his fan game, FNAF Real Time also had a challenge that took you 2 by storm. What if a shift at Freddy's was actually a real shift? Although this mode was interesting, reality is often disappointing. There were various YouTubers who took up on the challenge, only for the game to bug 1 hour to 2 hours into the night. This fan game is undeniably a huge upgrade to the first game. FNAF Forgotten Pizzeria, a FNAF multiplayer game. Fears of the Mind. Fears of the Mind is another unfinished FNAF fan game that was created in 2024. The story isn't yet finished, but for what I can understand, we play as Andrew Brown, a kid that had visited Freddy Fazbear's in the 80s. only for him to eventually get haunted by the spirits or the hallucinations of the animatronics. I honestly like to believe that he was so scared of the animatronics that their appearance is now so vivid and exaggerated in his head. The gameplay is very similar to FNAF 4. Check the hallway for Bonnie, check your bed to see if your teddy hasn't been possessed, and check the wardrobe for Foxy. But now, the new mechanics. If Chica is seen outside your window, spook her away with your flashlight. If the TV turns on, turn it off, and your flashlight is limited, but you can find batteries to recharge it. And that's about it. FNAF Rewritten 87. FNAF Rewritten 87 is a remake of FNAF 2 that has left me wet, all covered in sweat. In it, we place Jeremy Fitzgerald, the actual security guard from FNAF 2, after the disappearances that happened in the first pizzeria that led to it being bought by another company in 87. And that's where we are now. This game plays like the normal FNAF 2, however, this one has a lot of qualities of life added to it. Not only the more realistic appearances, their suits, and also, in the beginning of our shift we can walk around the pizzeria, and our character finally is not silent. Sort of. And oh my god, the animations. As the night progresses, certain machines are on, and playing those arcade machines, it reveals pieces of the mystery surrounding the children. But to the day of writing this FNAF fan game only has 5 nights. Animator's Hell. Basically an ultimate custom night with various source filmmaker animators. There are more than 40 animators, or characters you can say. Honestly, this looks like hell. An animator's hell. Bondi's Barnyard Safety Violation. Bondi's Barnyard is a fan game created in 2023, in which we played as a child who disappeared on their own birthday in Bondi's Barnyard. The real reason why the child went missing is still very questionable, but it's heavily implied that the child got scared after setting one of the animatronics on fire, which caused him to hide inside the cow. Now, inside the animatronic, the child had to avoid being detected by the security guard, who will shock as if he sees movement, thus triggering the spring lock, and avoid being killed by other animatronics. This game, instead of having 5 nights, only has 1 night, divided by 5 separate hours. But in the end, upon reaching 6 AM, the facility closes with the child being suffocated to death. Jollibees. A FNAF fan game that was deleted due to copyright. Jollibees was a fan game created in 2019, about a real restaurant in the Philippines. In it, we play as Justin Smith, a security guard who is hired after the restaurant closed due to food poisoning that affected several children. Whether they died or not, that doesn't matter. Something that I love to see in FNAF fan games is the free roam section. Oh my god. Not only does it make the game more tense, with the fear of something being around the corner, but it also helps with the immersion. After every single shift, we had to do tasks around the building, while avoiding getting killed by the animatronic within the same room, either them being Jollibee, Yum, Twirly, Popo, or Hattie. And fun fact, they all exist in real life. The gameplay mechanics of this fan game are different, but nothing that crazy. On the left we had a vent that is only accessible to 2 animatronics. You can choose to close the vents, thus stopping the animatronic right there, but doing so reduces your oxygen, and if you close 2, just pack it up little bro. Or, you can take care of that animatronic later, running the risk of maybe dying. Just make sure you're flashing the right one. In front of us there's a door, where animatronics can take a peek to see what's on the menu. If they do so, turn off the lights. And for last, to our right, we have Hattie, that will slowly move and kill you if you don't flash her. Depending on our decisions, we would get one of the 4 endings, being only one canon to the story, the spring lock ending, which leads us to Jollibee's Phase 2, but not in this video. Juniors. Juniors is one of my favorite FNAF fan games. Juniors is simple but an entertaining fan game. In Juniors, we play as a paranormal investigator that was called to investigate Junior's restaurant after some incidents that caused it to be closed. While sleeping, our character wakes up in the Barrens, a limbo between life and death where he meets Paul Bear, a lonely ghost that is afraid of ghosts. Okay. Between those interactions, a friendship is born since both have the same objective, which is getting rid of the spirits affecting Juniors. The gameplay mechanics are very cool yet simple. In it, we had to watch the cameras and see which animatronic is possessed, report it, rinse and repeat, while also maintaining an eye for the animatronic's stability. If one of them is close to 0, you can call the animatronic to be fixed, but pray that you're not calling the possessed one. But in the end, this spirit within Juniors ends up affecting the animatronics one by one to build the final boss, the Mangle, who after beating it, the spirit invades the Barrens and tries to kill Paul Bear, only to be backstabbed by the player and with a good ending. FNAF 1 Remake Virus. a FNAF fan game with a ransomware aesthetic. FNAF 1 Remake was a FNAF fan game created in 2025 in just 2 months. In it, we don't play as a security guard, but rather as ourselves. A grown adult that once loved, feared, and appreciated the first Five Nights at Freddy's when he was younger. That after 10 long and nostalgic years, came back once again to relive his childhood. Only for it not to be the FNAF 1 you remembered. The old security office was now more isolated. The place and theories that caused those halls to be scary were now more empty and more disturbing than they once were. And now, we're fighting against distorted versions of the previous animatronics we loved. It plays exactly the same. Bonnie and Chica will appear on the door, close it, yada yada yada. But now, you can shock Foxy, and Freddy will try to raise you up in your office. In this game there are no nights, simply one night that resets again and again. A desperate attempt by Buddy, the final boss of this game, to keep you playing. Buddy has reached his limit. The experience that he wanted to give us has failed again and again. He realizes that if he loses for the last time, we will simply close the game and forget about him. A fight to not be forgotten. However, if you win, Buddy will forever be doomed to lie in the dark corners of your mind. Next Week at Freddy's. Next Week at Freddy's is like FNAF 1 if it was better and if it came from hell. This fan game is so cool yet suffocating. In Next Week at Freddy's, we play as a security guard in a claustrophobic security office, and when you turn around, oh my god, what is this? Calm down. This seems like a lot, but trust me, it's less intimidating than you think. This fan game takes everything you know about FNAF 1 and throws it away. On the cameras, we can notice right away how unrecognizable the layout of the building is, and also how better it is not only in graphics, sounds, immersion, but story-wise. We can notice there are specific cameras with red dots. Those are special rooms. Rooms equipped with doors to protect essential equipment needed to survive the night, such as your cameras, doors, a fifth animatronic, and even power. With this, we face the main cast we know, plus an old version of Foxy, and Comcat, your supposed virtual companion. Bonnie will try to sabotage the compressor room, making it impossible for you to close your doors. Chica will sabotage your power grid and the server room, deactivating all your cameras, which will take a long while to turn them back on. And now, the card up their sleeve. Both Bonnie and Chica can activate Foxy, who then will sprint towards your office and whoop your ass if you don't close the door in time. But Freddy is by far the worst. Not only can he sabotage everything and activate Foxy, but he can also activate the fifth animatronic, which is the old version of Foxy, who will shred you to pieces, trust me. If this wasn't stressful enough, we also have to give attention to Comcat, one of the cutest, yet annoying virtual companions I've ever seen in my life. Dude is a cat that pops every once in a while to ask you questions, and once it does, you can't do anything else except read and answer his question. This even applies to the worst possible scenarios. Okay. No, not now, please. Please. No. No, I don't want, no. Oh my god. I'm not telling you the punchline. Oh, frick! The lore of this game is only presented to us through files on the computer. A clever way to tell the story, honestly. To summarize it, Fazbear Enterprises was created by Jack and Marcus in the late 80s. The company was prospering in an absurdly good way, to the point of opening another 2 restaurants in just 3 years. But what comes up must come down eventually. As the years went by, Marcus ended up leaving the company, selling his share, and leaving Jack to manage it all alone. If this wasn't stressful enough, Jack also loses his wife, causing him to take care of his 1-year-old daughter by himself. From here forward, the restaurant would follow an uncertain destiny and would suffer a lot of struggles. But thankfully, in 1999, a company saw potential in Freddy's and decided to invest $12 million, finally giving Jack hope and a bright future. This investment made Marcus come back in 2001 to demand his old share back, despite him having already cashed out in 1997, No. Obviously this doesn't work, causing Marcus to have a huge beef with Jack, where later Marcus would end up killing Jack's daughter inside Jack's own restaurant, causing his main investor to withdraw from the company. This obviously throws Jack into a down spiral, and that is visibly taking a huge toll on him. Which sadly, in 2001, Jack ended up killing 3 children. And this ends with us burning the whole building down. A Bite at Freddy's. Bite at Freddy's is a fan game that changes everything we know about the first FNAF. The main cast has been changed to have more of a vibe of a late night talk show, which honestly gave so much life to the characters, it's insane. And let's not even talk about the atmosphere, it's so cozy. In this game, we play as an engineer who is helping the manager of Freddy Fazbear's Grill with fixing the fast food delivery machine. Instead of nights, we have courses that are done back to back. During the courses, we have to confirm that the food the manager is making reaches the respective rooms while trying to not die to the 5 animatronics. Or should I say, 2.5 animatronics. The gameplay mechanics are different. During the nights, the animatronics can either come from the conveyor, the front door, or the vents. If they come from the conveyor, you can either close the conveyor door, and if they do enter, it's not the end. You can stop the conveyor and they will go away. If an animatronic is in the vents, turn on the fan. If they show up at the door, turn off the lights. And if Chica shows up in your office, aim right between the eyes and shoot her. The fan game ends with the animatronics simply going missing out of nowhere. Who knows, maybe another game is on the way. Graveyard Shift at Freddy's. Graveyard Shift at Freddy's, another fan game with a ransomware aesthetic that took YouTube by storm. This fan game was created in 2024, and right away we were greeted with the disappearance of a local journalist named Sam Rodriguez, who was working on a news article about Freddy Bear's Eatery and Fun, a place surrounded by grief and hundreds of disappearances. We play as Sam Rodriguez, and we see what he had to face. These animatronics are anything but friendly. Bloodshot eyes, uncanny smiles, and they were starving. Freddy Bear's Eatery and Fun? More like Freddy Bear's Misery and Death. In front of us, there is a window. If any animatronic appears, close it. We have 2 doors, one behind us and another to our right. Lure the animatronics away from those doors and we'll be fine. And also, there's a vent where Chica's cupcake will try to come in and kill you, so... The camera system works differently. Instead of you being able to switch to the camera you want, the cameras follow a sequence, which you only have a button to speed up the timer for switching cameras, making it somewhat more tense, especially on later nights. As we complete our shifts, the game would slowly reveal how everybody around Sam was dealing with the situation of his disappearance, with Sam now just being one of the 100 corpses later found by police under the restaurant. Shadows Awaken. Shadows Awaken is a fan game very similar to PT, which only has 1 chapter, and this idea was scrapped. Shadows Awaken puts us in the shoes of Michael, William Afton's son, after the bite of 83 and the spring lock incident. Michael is now doomed to walk around his house while being haunted by the spirits of the animatronics and the lingering feeling that his father is never coming back. The first chapter of this game is called The Centipede, which is also the name of Freddy in this game. Michael has to avoid the centipede, a hallucination that will always try to block your movements, and to stay away from the dark by replacing bulbs found throughout the house, or else Michael's anxiety ramps up, stopping him from being able to focus. Focus is also an ability that allows Michael to listen to sounds beyond the physical world, eventually allowing him to locate the centipede and to complete the final objective. But since this concept got scrapped, the final product is going to be way different. Night Stars. I don't know why, but this one is just adorable. Night Stars is another FNAF fan game about a restaurant responsible for the disappearances of a group of teenagers that this time broke inside a building. So womp womp. That restaurant is considered cursed by locals. However, it's paying $500 a week, so sign me in. We ended up staying inside the building after accidentally falling asleep during the evening shift. We play as Jacob Williams, an employee who now had to survive until 6 AM since everything is locked down. During the first and only night, we play against all animatronics: Russell Deerwood, Peppermint Halson, and Sherry Puffy Bud. However, as the night progresses, so does the regression, but nothing too crazy. The gameplay mechanics are somewhat close to Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but with a few twists. One of our doors is not working, thus making us stop the animatronic coming from our right with the taser. We could only switch the cameras 15 times before it needed to restart, and the door to our left doesn't stay closed for too long. This game is very small, and once we complete the first night, Jacob leaves his security office and goes to the exit, only to notice that the doors haven't yet opened, and that gets him killed by the vessel, and causes the Night Star Palace to close forever. The only problem that I had with this game is how repetitive it is. Other than that, I loved it. Thankfully they're making a new game. For some reason, since I became a fan of FNAF fan games, I was always afraid of Five Nights at Treasure Island. In the beginning of this year, the same team that remastered the fan game, the Radiance team, fully released Oblitos Casa, a sequel of a remake of the original Five Nights at Treasure Island, which took YouTube by storm, and oh my god, it is a roller coaster of emotions. I'm literally just going to read straight from their Game Jolt page. It's been 1 year since the events that took place at Treasure Island. 1 year hasn't been enough, however. You still can't get what happened out of your head. being reminded day after day the same questions and the same answers you failed to provide. The island calls your name one last time. We immediately play as Jake Smith, an individual that is now the main suspect of the Discovery Island case. Jake, along 3 of his other friends, have been missing for over a year, with only him being found in July of 2004. But now, he has to go through therapy to help police piece this case together and to bring the town closure. Apparently, what Jake saw was so traumatizing that he ended up breaking his mind completely, making him unable to remember. What the hell happened on that island? Here is where we begin, more specifically at the cabin. But first, context. Oblitus Casa happens after 5 nights at Treasure Island. On that fan game, a small group of investigators were commissioned in 2003 to investigate the strange rumors that surrounded the island. This small group consisted of Greg, Lisa, and Henry, and after they went MIA, Jake was called once again as a last effort. After having survived 6 nights in the previous place, Jake had to survive again another 6 nights at a cabin, with nothing more than his cameras, notebook, and lighter to help him out. Through the notebook, we realized that Jake's friends were dead, and that if we don't do anything, we'll be next. In order for us to not die, we had to use the cameras to either flash the characters or to lure them away from our office. And also, Jake would have to erase the drawing of Belial, which will slowly appear as the night goes on. The most interesting thing about this fan game is that, when you die, there's also an afterlife section, which if you manage to complete, you'll come back to life one more time. As we complete night 4, Jake ends up burning Hourglass that has been trying to kill him since the Treasure Island game, thus triggering a boss fight against the Mother, the spirit responsible for haunting Discovery Island. After beating the last night, Jake ends up burning Mother alive, finally confirming the rumors that something threatening was on that island. Dormitabus, a disturbing FNAF fan game made by a disturbing individual. Viewer discretion is advised, and if it is too much for you, don't feel ashamed in leaving the video, okay? Dormitabus is a weird and confusing FNAF fan game where we play as John Wright, a security guard that was attacked by the purple guy after finding out the dead corpses. The damages on the security guard was so severe to the point where now John is in a coma. In this purgatory, John is forced to face various animatronics and collect all the tapes to have a chance to escape the purgatory. Besides the clunky gameplay and weird design choices, the lore and the creator is what makes this game be downhill. In one of the tapes, we can hear that Garvey, the purple guy, is a rape and a totally unnecessary. If things couldn't get any worse, Blackout, the real uploader and creator of this FNAF fan game, had already been exposed in a now archived document in 2018 for harassment, manipulation, blackmail, and many other darker things. But in 2020, in a now unlisted video, Nietzsche was allegedly exposed for sending a sexual picture to a 12-year-old on Discord. Thankfully, Blackout has left the internet, and a group of people ended up remastering and cleaning the unnecessary part of the game. Grizzlies. This one, again, is down here not because of the game itself, but due to its creator. Grizzlies is a FNAF fan game that gained a lot of reputation for its weird and unique political story. So weird for a fact that nobody took it seriously. However, its polished VR version is what made it gather so much attention. In the story, we play as an unknown employee, and as we complete the nights, we begin to understand what's going on. With each night, we receive tapes recorded by Jonathan, the creator of the Grizzlies restaurant. Jonathan ends up becoming homeless due to what I believe to be unpaid debt, forcing him to live inside his business, Grizzlies. There, Jonathan accidentally ends up creating animatronics that became obsessed with its creator and ended up developing a mind of their own, especially Grizzly, an unstable, obsessed, bipolar bear. But I'm not going to dive too deep into the story because that's not the reason why we're here. It's a shame that such efforts of the team behind this game were tainted by the actions of the creator. Again, viewer discretion is advised. Lester Gabriel Telles was arrested on October 10 of 2025 in Miami, Florida, for allegedly inviting 2 victims, both of whom had mental disabilities, to his car with the intention of engaging in sexual activities. Lester then proceeded to touch one of the victims, causing fear in said victim that ended up leaving the car, where later Lester, the other victim, and later a complaint was filed at the police station. This is what was written in the police report. Lester would later be arrested and his bond was set at $5,000. After this came to the public, his Game Jolt page wouldn't last long, with it being taken down one day later. If true, let's just hope that justice is served. Grizzlies, Dormitabus, and One Night of Flumpties are prime examples of how just one person can ruin the perspective of a game for everyone. with them being just a few of various cases of disturbing FNAF fan games. Stay safe out there, check the main channel, and thank you for watching.